Hawks, Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on WGN.
The following is a paid program announcement.
I'm in Aberdeen, Idaho, where I've been given 5 million pounds of Idaho potatoes. This is the largest food gift Feed the Children has ever received.
We can't think of a better place to put them than in a hungry child's mouth.
But we can't get this incredible gift out to the children without your help.
We've seen the benefits and the good things that Larry Jones and the Feed the Children organization has done.
Please, do something quickly, because if you don't, these potatoes will be wasted. So please watch this special report about how one man's idea sparked this generosity and how little it will take to follow through on his dream of feeding America's hungry children. Hunger in America is happening behind many more doors than you'd imagine. Hi, John. Good to see you.
What are those things right there? They're what?
Potatoes.
They're potatoes. What are you going to do with those potatoes?
We're going to eat them.
Small potatoes, cooking in the bottom of an old coal stove, are all this family has for dinner tonight. And there's only enough for the children.
There's been times that we've been so low that I wouldn't eat for 2 or 3 days, so the kids would have it to eat. That's how low we've got. I do that quite often. I won't eat, so they'd have it.
How bad has the hunger gotten for this father of 5?
It's like somebody's got their hand inside of your stomach and they squeeze it like that and twist it at the same time.
And yet, the pain of watching your children go without is always greater than your own. This family's refrigerator is empty.
We don't have any food yet, do we? We're going to have to get you some food, aren't we?
And since food would come first on a family budget, you don't have to look far to find other things this family is doing without. Francis and I bring in some coal when we find out that what's left in the coal stove is not only the last food in the house, but the last coal this family has to take them all the way through winter.
Is this where you sleep at night? Huh? Is this where you sleep at night?
Are you all cold?
As you get to know these children, you know they never would complain or even tell you something's wrong without you asking them. This is just their life.
What's the matter with your tooth, honey? It hurts. It hurts. Do you need to go to the dentist? No. You need to go get it fixed? I think you do, too.
All you have to do to see hunger and poverty in America is to look for it. Look for families like Joretta's, whose toothache will only make it harder for her to eat her tiny share of the only food this family has to eat when we arrive.
Okay, is it
3
done yet?
small potatoes,
It's not done
bacon
yet.
in the
Well, this is
bottom
the
of
only
the
thing you
coal
got to cook on
stove.
tonight, right?
Did you notice what that family was pulling out of the ashes? Potatoes. Now, can you imagine the difference that a 50-pound box of potatoes will make in the life of a family? It'll help them for a month. Now, you have a choice to make. You can be a spectator and just watch us, or you can be a participator and help us. Please, be a participator. In other words, taters for tots. For only $5, you can move 100 pounds. That's 2 50-pound boxes into the hands of America's hungry children. I think everyone should pick up the phone right now, call that toll-free number and say, I'll give $5. I want to help feed America's hungry children potatoes. Please, it's a toll-free call. Call right now. By the way, this boxcar is loaded with 120,000 pounds of potatoes, and it's ready to go to America's hungry children. Please help us. For only $5, you can move 100 pounds. Thanks for making that call.
For just $5, you can deliver 100 pounds of potatoes to needy families. $25 moves 500 pounds, $100, 2,000 pounds, and $500 delivers 10,000 pounds. Call right now and help Feed the Children put 5 million pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children.
Struggling with hunger causes fears a child should never have to face. But for thousands of hungry children like Jonathan, those fears can be erased because of the gift of 5 million pounds of Idaho potatoes. Here's Jonathan's story.
It's hard. You run out of food and you can't get out and get food and stuff. It's hard.
Jonathan thinks a lot about food. It's because he goes without it so often.
I get scared that we're going to run out of food and we'll starve to death. Scared of dying.
Jonathan is the oldest in his family. It's his job to split the kindling used to heat the house.
I like to split kindling and his friend to chop wood. His friend to work.
The house is old and in bad shape, but it's all Jonathan's parents can afford right now.
It's got a broken window in it. In our bedroom here, it's got wires hanging out. And my mom and dad says if you touch it, you might get killed.
The water that comes out of the kitchen faucet doesn't look very good, and it smells even worse. So Jonathan carries drinking water from a well about 2 miles away. He doesn't think of himself as poor, but he knows others think he is.
Sometimes kids make fun of you for not having toys and stuff. They think money's the best thing that's in the world, but it's not.
Jonathan wants to be a school teacher, and more than anything, he wants to do things to help other people.
If you could say, I want this to be this way, and it would be that way, what would you change?
Well, I would mostly get lots of food. And if we had any money left, I'd give it to the poor.
I'm asked all the time, how do I cope with seeing so many hungry children? Let me tell you something. I try not to look at the problem. I try to look at solutions to the problem for hungry children. And I, right now, am standing on one of the solutions. We've been given 5 million pounds of surplus potatoes. Did you notice what I said? We've been given. But we have to pay for the transportation. For $5, we can move 100 pounds of potatoes. And with that 5 million pounds, we're going to be able to give 96,000 families a 50-pound box of potatoes. Will you help me? There's a toll-free number on your screen. Just pick up the phone and say, I'll give $5. I want to move 100 pounds of potatoes. Of course, if you give $25, you can move 500 pounds. If you give $100, 2,000 pounds. Please, pick up the phone and call right now. Now, I'm sure you know, if we don't move these potatoes to America's hungry children, they'll be wasted. Please, call now and be as generous as you can. If you'd rather write out a check, make it out to Feed the Children, send to Box 36, that's Oklahoma City, or as if it's 73101. And down in the corner of your check, just write potatoes.
Pallets of potatoes rolling off a rail car. Proof that the first delivery of 5 million pounds of potatoes is on its way to help America's hungry children.
Well, it's a blessing that someone's willing to help us. For low-income families, don't get no assistance.
At the Feed the Children warehouse in Oklahoma City, families, food banks, and relief agencies were grateful to receive the generous donation.
Because sometimes we get a few potatoes, but not very many, and we have to limit like 5 or 6 potatoes per family to make it through when we can get them. So this time they'll be able to have as much as they want.
It means a lot. I live with my elderly mother, and it's hard for us to get anything. My husband's not working, so it helps.
It's going to make a big difference. We greatly appreciate to get it.
This means a lot for the people, a lot for me too, to be able to help the people. So often people come for help and we're not able to do it, but because of Larry Jones, we're able to meet the need in the community.
Thanks to 2 farmers in Idaho, needy families will have plenty of nutritious food to feed their children this month.
Everything you need is loaded in a potato, and that's a great thing right there because that one potato contains a lot of vitamins, a lot of nutrients that would help a child or a parent survive. So it's a great thing.
Thanks about it. I know everybody can use them.
Thank you, that it's greatly appreciated.
The blessings these families received went beyond the food. They felt the compassion of caring people and heard their message of love loud and clear.
Somebody out there cares.
As you just saw, we can get food into the hands of America's hungry children. I want to say a big thank you to all of our partners because you're the one that makes it happen. Now, we've been given 5 million pounds of potatoes. And for only $5, we can move 100 pounds. I'm depending on you. Friend, pick up the phone right now. It's a toll-free call and say, I'll give $5. I want to move 100 pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children. Then go the second mile. Get your group involved. Go to your church, go to your school, go to your civic club. I don't care if you collect pennies or dollars. There's an urgency about all this because if we don't move these potatoes, they will be wasted. So please, go the second mile and get your group involved. By the way, we're moving these by boxcar, and we can move a whole boxcar of Idaho potatoes for just $6,000. Maybe your group can raise that much. Perhaps you as an individual can give that much. My friend, this is a golden opportunity to feed America's hungry children. Call right now. We need your help. Thanks. I know I can count on you.
For just $5, you can deliver 100 pounds of potatoes to needy families. $25 moves 500 pounds, $100, 2,000 pounds, and $500 delivers 10,000 pounds. Call right now and help feed the children put 5 million pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children.
A simple potato may not mean much to you, but to a hungry child, it means a full stomach. A child like Joey doesn't have that feeling very often. Here's his story.
Patience is about the only thing not in short supply at Ruby's house. And patience is important as she teaches her son Joey the alphabet.
R.
At 6 years old, the alphabet is not the first obstacle to come his way. Poverty is.
Other kids, no matter what, they still make fun of them where they live at and what they got.
The taunting hurts Ruby as much as Joey. She says any mother would feel the same. These days, not many people would want to trade lives with Ruby, hauling up water from a dirty well, and her kids drinking straight from the bucket because there is no indoor plumbing. This is a mother's worst nightmare.
I guess I pull 18 to 20 buckets of water a day. And it's real hard.
Most of the children understand they probably won't ever have much. Take Joy. His push scooter runs on the rims. Like most of their daily living, it's a process of just barely getting by with what you have and making do. But there are some things you just can't do without as a child, like teeth and food. Joy points to all the places in his mouth that have caused him pain.
This one hurts.
Almost everywhere, something hurts. His teeth are falling out from poor nutrition, a result of simply skipping meals or not eating enough. How can a 6-year-old child have fallen through society's cracks so quickly? Can Joey and others like him recover? We hope so, but only time will tell if Joey can get the food, nourishment, and encouragement he needs to grow past his most important childhood years.
There are many things children can live without, but good nutrition is not one of them. A malnourished child is more susceptible to sickness. He suffers from dental problems. He's lethargic, and his brain doesn't develop properly. Now, you may find it hard to accept that there are children like this here in America. You know what? They may even live in your neighborhood and go to school with your children or grandchildren. But the point is this: we just can't ignore children like little Joey. He deserves to have the same chance other children do, to grow up without the sorrow of hunger hanging over him. That's why Feed the Children provides nourishing food to hungry children all across America. Now, we've just received the largest food donation ever. Listen to this: 5 million pounds of Idaho potatoes. It's a tremendous blessing, yet time is critical. As you might imagine, we need to deliver these potatoes to needy families right away, or the potatoes will rot and be wasted. We're asking you to consider helping us with the cost of moving this mountain of potatoes. For only $5, you can help deliver 100 pounds of potatoes. Or maybe you could give $25 to move 500 pounds, or $100 for 2,000 pounds. But please call the phone number on your screen and be just as generous as you possibly can. Now, if you'd rather write out a check, make it out to Feed the Children, Post Office Box 36, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, zip code 73101. And listen, we want you to put in the corner of your check, just write the word potatoes. I want to thank you for caring, and God bless you.
Eight-year-old Angelica makes her bed on the floor of the living room in her family's rundown trailer. It's the only place she has to sleep. Her family can't afford a bed.
Living poor means it's because, like, you don't have, you got less food, less money, less anything.
Her father, Leslie, was laid off after he had surgery to remove a blood clot. And try as he might, he has been unable to find a new job. That layoff was the push that sent his family down the slippery slope of poverty, from working poor to completely destitute.
See up here, a bag of beans with the rest of the eat it.
It means there's no food in the cupboards and a landlord at the door.
Hey, you gonna have my rent this month? Yeah, I'll come with the rent some month. Just give me time to do it. Which means pretty well pawning everything I got, but I'll do it in the end.
It means Leslie and his wife sometimes have to go without food so the children can eat.
Sometimes they feed us and they don't eat at all. We're the ones that eat. Sometimes they feed us. They starve because they want us to eat.
If it comes to me going hungry or them, hey, I'll be there. I've done that before. My parents grew up in poverty. I'm no stranger to it. If I have to live with it, I'll live with it. I went for 24 hours, 48 hours, sometimes without a bite.
I worry that if they don't eat, they'll die. And I'm the only one that's going to be left. I'm afraid. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Angelica studies hard and tries to be a good student. But sometimes she has to go to school hungry, and that makes it difficult to concentrate in class.
You're so hungry that you can't stand it. Sometimes I go home, sometimes I don't eat breakfast. And I'll just sit in class, I'm hungry.
Scientifically, it's been proven, I mean, if your glucose levels are too low and you're constantly thinking about your stomach and what needs to be there, you can't concentrate on learning, and your learning ability is diminished. Your brain needs good nutrition to function at its maximum performance.
Natural disasters happen in the present, but child poverty is a disaster of the future. It means Angelica and millions of American children in the same situation might never realize their full potential.
We just sit there wishing for like a miracle was coming.
I've said it many times before. It is obscene. It is a crime. In fact, it's a sin for any child to go to bed hungry in a land where there's plenty of food. Well, I'm here where there's plenty of food. Please, don't let these potatoes waste away. If we don't move these potatoes, every American should be hauled into court for child neglect. Please call now. This is the greatest opportunity Feed the Children has ever had. For only $5, you can move 100 pounds of potatoes. I hope every person will call. Every man, every woman, every college student, every high school student, and I know there's some of you in grade school that can afford $5. Please, please, call right now and say, I'll give $5. I want to move 100 pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children. Thanks for making that call.
I'm Becky and I'm 8 years old.
Becky's a lot like other children her age, but there's one big difference between her life and theirs.
What for? We ain't got no money.
That one big difference means lots of little differences. Like the place Becky lives with her mother and sister. It's an old trailer.
It feels like you're just living in a cave and nobody's around and nobody's gonna feed you or nothing.
The family refrigerator is almost always empty, and there are bugs everywhere.
They're all over the walls and the ceiling. Sometimes they're in the shelf. When you open it, they fall on you. There ain't no real ones. You picked them all when you was down here. You did.
Becky's family has a little garden out back, but it's not doing very well this year. You've never seen such small watermelons, and even smaller tomatoes.
Didn't find any more than little watermelons.
Becky thinks about food almost all the time. It's because she doesn't eat much. She says sometimes water is all her family has for supper, and she's scared. She's afraid to die.
Because if you don't eat for a long time, you'll die.
Becky wants to be a movie star when she grows up, so she can make lots of money.
Spend it on food.
But she will never realize that dream. She'll never be a movie star if someone doesn't share with her.
Food is a good thing to share and where your friends won't die or anything.
I'm in Aberdeen, Idaho, where I've been given 5 million pounds of Idaho potatoes. To get these to America's hungry children, all I have to do is pay for the transportation. We can move 100 pounds of potatoes for $5. Pick up the phone. It's a toll-free call and say, I'll give $5. I want to move 100 pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children. Please, do something quickly, because if you don't, these potatoes will be wasted. Call now. Only $5 to move 100 pounds. Thanks for making that call.
For just $5, you can deliver 100 pounds of potatoes to needy families. $25 moves 500 pounds, $100, 2,000 pounds, and $500 delivers 10,000 pounds. Call right now and help Feed the Children put 5 million pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children.
How did millions of pounds of potatoes, 2 potato farmers, and 1 phone call help hungry children? Just take a look. Don Breeding is a potato grower in Idaho who is facing a crisis.
It costs us about $1,600 an acre to grow an acre of potatoes, and right now we're getting back anywhere from $30 to $50 an acre right now. So it's an extreme economic hardship.
A bountiful harvest has driven profits down, resulting in a huge surplus of potatoes that could possibly be wasted.
We had a great growing season, and our farmers, we have a tremendously large crop. Due to that, our yields were up, the quality's great, but we seem to have more supply than the market will bear.
But Don's uncle, Larry Breeding in Oklahoma City, had an idea.
We've seen the benefits and the good things that Larry Jones and the Feed the Children organization has done, and felt that it was a solid enough organization that if people donated something to it, it eventually would end up in somebody's hands or mouth that needed help.
He called Feed the Children and then proposed a plan to Don and Jeff.
You know, we know an organization in Oklahoma City called Feed the Children, and it's possible they could utilize some of those potatoes and for people that need them.
The result, 5 million pounds of potatoes given to help America's hungry children.
Plus, we can't think of a better place to put them than in a hungry child's mouth.
We haven't got a lot to look forward to price-wise this year, but if we can help somebody out, like some hungry children, then then that's one bright spot in the whole deal. We're just excited the fact that some of those potatoes are going to end up in children's and mothers and families' mouths and feed them and nurture them, where normally it would have gone to waste.
A simple phone call and the generosity of two farmers was all it took to provide food for hungry children. Now, why don't you make a phone call and help us move these potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children? You'll be amazed at the results.
I want to say a big thank you to Jeff Duffin, Don Breeding, as well as Larry Breeding. The gift of 5 million pounds of potatoes, it still overwhelms us. Now, I hope you've called and said, I'll give $5. I want to move 100 pounds of potatoes into the hands of America's hungry children. If you haven't, please call right now. And remember, for just $25, you can move 500 pounds. And for $100, 2,000 pounds. I hope every person will do something. This is the biggest challenge we've ever faced. Also, go the second mile. Get your group involved. Week after week, I say, the job of helping America's hungry children, it is bigger than we are. So I say, do what you can. Now stop for just a moment. Larry Breeding took me seriously. He made one phone call, and the result of that one phone call was 5 million pounds of potatoes. Now, I hope you'll do what you can for America's hungry children. Let me remind you, for just $6,000, you can move a whole rail car of potatoes. That's 2,400 boxes